Across North America's arid belts, bobcats reveal how a medium-sized feline can flourish where rainfall is scarce, temperatures soar, and prey often hides beneath thorny brush or rocky ledges. Their desert survival story begins with camouflage. Short, dense fur in pale tawny, gray, or reddish shades patterned with dark spots lets them disappear against sand, gravel, and weathered stone. This natural cloak is so effective that a bobcat can recline on an open boulder at noon, eyes half closed, and still pass unnoticed by hikers a few meters away. Body design further supports desert living. Long legs lift the torso clear of blistering ground, while compact paws distribute weight softly over unstable soils. The cat's tail, ending in a black-tipped puff, acts as a counterweight on uneven terrain and as a communication flag for kittens or mates. Water scarcity has shaped their physiology and habits. Bobcats obtain most moisture from prey, cottontails, packrats, quail, even lizards, so they rarely need to drink free water, though they will lap from stock tanks or seeps if available. They regulate temperature by resting through the day in shaded alcoves, hollow logs, or the cool underside of boulders, venturing out when the sun dips and desert winds carry cooler air. At twilight they slip along washes and arroyos, ears pivoting to triangulate faint scurries, muscles coiled for swift pounces. Their patience is legendary. A bobcat may crouch motionless for minutes, waiting for a rodent to emerge, or stalk across open flats with a slow, heel-to-toe gait that barely disturbs dust. Parenting in such a harsh world demands ingenuity. Females select dens with stable shade, often under mesquite tangles or within rocky crevices, so newborns are protected from searing heat and sudden storms. Kittens are born blind and helpless, but within weeks they totter from the den to explore, learning through play to judge distances and control leaps. A mother's hunts become lessons. She may release a stunned jackrabbit, allowing kits to practice ambush and dispatch. By late summer, youngsters shadow her nightly rounds, absorbing routes to water holes and memorizing which ridges provide the best vantage points for scanning. Predators and competitors add pressure. Coyotes, golden eagles, and larger cats such as mountain lions patrol the same canyons. Bobcats rely on stealth, quick climbs, and intimate knowledge of escape routes to avoid confrontation. They also maintain large home ranges, males often exceeding 30 square miles, to ensure enough prey across seasons. Scent markings along rocks and cactus bases advertise occupancy and help reduce costly encounters with neighbors. Desert ecosystems are not static, and bobcats adjust as conditions shift. After heavy rains, annual grasses sprout and small mammals multiply, triggering bobcat population booms. During drought, cats travel farther, exploiting ephemeral seeps, cactus fruits, or even scavenging carrion left by raptors. Their flexibility lets them persist where many carnivores would falter, illustrating how evolution has polished every sense, limb, and behavior for a life balanced between hunger and heat. Leaving the desert's shimmering horizons behind, bobcats step into an entirely different theater of survival. The patchwork of prairies, oak savannas, pine barrens, and mixed hardwood forests that stretch across much of North America. Here, precipitation is kinder and vegetation thicker, but the competition is also sharper, and the seasons demand constant recalibration of tactics. In spring, emerald grass shoots and unfolding buds bring an eruption of rabbits, ground squirrels, voles, and songbirds, and the bobcat's menu broadens accordingly. These cats become masters of edge habitat, the transitional seams where dense cover meets open feeding grounds. They skirt the margins of meadows or cattle pastures at dawn, pausing to listen for the squeak of a gopher or the thump of a rabbit bounding between clumps of switchgrass. Their coat, darker than its desert cousin, streaked with bold bars on the legs, breaks their outline amid shafts of sun and shadow. Forests introduce vertical complexity. Bobcats are agile climbers, able to scale leaning trunks or leap between boulders to escape threats or gain vantage points. They often stash leftover prey in low forks of trees or hollow logs, keeping food from scavengers such as foxes or raccoons. Hunting here is a blend of stealth and sprint. They stalk through leaf litter, moving when breezes rustle branches to mask sound, then burst forward in explosive lunges. On snowy winter days, they switch to patient stillness, crouching near brush piles or log edges where snowshoe hares or mice tunnel beneath the crust. Their broad paws act like natural snowshoes, distributing weight so they don't plunge through soft drifts. Family life in these regions reflects a dance with the calendar. Breeding often occurs in late winter, By early April, females seek dens in hollow trees, rock crevices, or abandoned porcupine burrows. Kittens arrive as buds open on dogwoods, greeted by a world alive with insects and frog calls. A mother ferries food back to the nest, sometimes dragging prey nearly as large as herself through undergrowth. As kits grow, she guides them along faint deer paths and game trails, teaching them to freeze when wind shifts or to retreat up saplings at the scent of coyote. By autumn, juveniles disperse, searching for their own territories, often following river corridors or hedgerows that connect patches of cover. Human-modified landscapes complicate this story. Bobcats in agricultural belts learn to navigate barbed wire fences and avoid tractors, while still exploiting hayfield mice or pheasants along irrigation ditches. In some suburbs bordering woodland, they slip through culverts or along drainage easements at night, largely unseen except by the occasional motion-triggered camera. Their adaptability has allowed them to rebound in areas once considered too altered for wild cats, though road mortality remains a serious risk. Conservationists stress the importance of preserving riparian strips and unmowed field edges to sustain both prey and safe travel lanes. Seasonal extremes sharpen the species' resilience. Blizzards press them to conserve energy, curling beneath uprooted stumps or inside thickets until weather eases. Summer thunderstorms, on the other hand, can invigorate hunts. After rain, scents sharpen and rodents emerge from sodden nests, giving the cats an advantage. Fire also plays a role. Low-intensity burns rejuvenate prairie and savanna, encouraging growth of forbs that feed cottontails, indirectly benefiting predators like bobcats. Across these diverse inland habitats, bobcats embody versatility without losing their quiet mystique. Whether perched on a fallen log scanning a sunlit glade, or padding at midnight across a dew-soaked pasture, they are sculpted by countless micro-decisions. When to pause, where to stalk, how to use the lay of the land. Forests and grasslands offer abundance but require mastery of timing, patience, and stealth, and in these arenas the bobcat's legacy as a supple, resourceful hunter grows deeper with each generation. If the desert demands endurance and the forest rewards patience, then wetlands challenge bobcats with puzzles of water, mud, and shifting ground. Along the bayous of the South, the cypress-ringed lakes of the Midwest, and the dense mangrove channels of Florida, these cats move as if they were born to the labyrinth. Their paws, broad and furred underneath, allow them to walk across damp soil and even balance along half-submerged logs. A bobcat stepping through a swamp at dawn is a study in controlled grace. Whiskers quiver for hints of movement, amber eyes scan mirrored surfaces for ripples betraying fish or frogs, and each step is a deliberate experiment in silence. Unlike the stereotypical image of cats avoiding water, bobcats tolerate wet feet with ease, often wading shallow pools or crouching near reeds to watch minnows dart. Prey abundance makes the effort worthwhile. Crayfish, frogs, snakes, and small turtles broaden the diet beyond the usual rabbits and rodents. In coastal marshes, bobcats will even snatch unwary shorebirds or raid nests of ground-nesting ducks, adjusting their schedule to low tide when mudflats expose delicacies. They rely on sight as much as sound. In the half-light of early morning or foggy evenings, their pupils widen to absorb every glint, while ear tufts funnel faint noises through damp air. Patience again defines their strategy. A cat may freeze mid-stride for minutes, waiting for a frog's head to surface or a vole to rustle bulrush stems. Raising families in wetlands requires both caution and creativity. Females choose elevated sites, hollow stumps, old beaver lodges, or hummocks hidden among cattails, to keep kittens dry during seasonal floods. The kit's first ventures often involve tentative steps onto slick vegetation, with the mother nearby to guide or nudge them back from deep channels. Play here includes splashing at insects, pouncing on drifting leaves, and stalking each other across matted grasses, all rehearsals for navigating a tricky environment. By late summer, the youngsters mirror adult confidence, following their mother's precise routes over log bridges and through curtains of Spanish moss. Natural hazards abound. Alligators, large raptors, and even venomous snakes inhabit the same watery corridors. Bobcats rely on quick reflexes and encyclopedic memory of safe crossing points. They also contend with weather. Hurricanes and heavy rains can submerge dens or scatter prey, forcing swift relocation. Yet such disturbances sometimes create opportunities. Receding floods concentrate fish in shallow pools, and storm-felled trees provide new basking spots for sun-loving reptiles, which in turn become prey. Wetlands test a bobcat's adaptability against the background of human influence. Canals, levees, and roadways slice through swamps, while pollution and drainage shrink habitats. Still, these cats persist wherever cover remains. Abandoned rice paddies, riparian corridors along golf courses, and restoration marshes all host their faint tracks. Wildlife managers emphasize keeping vegetated buffers around waterways, since even modest strips of sedge or willow can serve as hunting lanes and protective screens. Ultimately, swamps and marshes showcase the bobcat's readiness to reinvent its craft in response to new terrain. Whether stalking crayfish under moonlight or perching above a dark lagoon as fireflies dance, it thrives on variety. Its secret lies in balancing caution with boldness, knowing when to step onto slick mud, when to pause in knee-high water, and when to leap across a flooded ditch. This mastery of liminal places, where land and water blur, completes the cat's continental repertoire, proving it can carve out a life from nearly every North American biome. For all their resourcefulness, bobcats live in a world that is constantly reshaped by people. Roads, subdivisions, pipelines, and sprawling farms dissect the same deserts, forests, and wetlands where these cats roam. Every new barrier forces them to cross open ground or risk traffic. Young males in search of a home range can travel more than 100 kilometers, yet one busy highway can end the journey in an instant. Scientists studying road mortality have found that the densest bobcat populations often lie near protected tracks where fencing or wildlife overpasses let them slip between fragments of habitat. Hunting pressure varies by region. In some U.S. states and Canadian provinces, regulated trapping for pelts remains legal. Elsewhere, bobcats are fully protected. Their population overall is considered stable, but localized declines can happen when hunting, loss of prey, or severe winters combine. In Mexico, where arid landscapes and human expansion leave smaller refuges, biologists work with ranchers to promote coexistence and curb retaliatory killing after livestock losses. Though attacks on domestic animals are rare compared to damage done by feral dogs or coyotes. Pollution and climate change shape settler threats. Pesticides can thin rabbit or rodent numbers, while warming winters alter snow depth, shortening the advantage bobcats once had over heavier lynx cousins in shallow drifts. Rising seas encroach on Gulf Coast marshes where some of the country's most secretive bobcats hunt fiddler crabs and rails. Conservationists highlight how wetland restoration and forest corridors double as defenses against climate extremes. What helps water quality or carbon storage often safeguards wildcats too. Modern research tools sharpen understanding. Motion-triggered cameras capture hidden moments. Bobcats stalking quail through chaparral or balancing across icy creeks. GPS collars chart seasonal travel, revealing how females with kittens favor sheltered slopes or how males patrol enormous territories, weaving between farm fields and woodlets. Genetic studies confirm that, despite their spread from Mexico to southern Canada, bobcats remain one species with healthy mixing between regions wherever land remains connected. Public perception also influences their future. Stories of bobcats lounging on suburban decks or trotting through city parks can inspire either alarm or awe. Education helps tilt opinion toward respect, explaining that a wild cat passing through a neighborhood usually seeks rabbits or squirrels, not conflict. Encouraging residents to keep small pets indoors at night, secure poultry, and avoid feeding feral animals reduces temptations and protects everyone. Ecotourism and citizen science may further strengthen the bond between people and bobcats. Guided wildlife walks in desert preserves or kayak trips through swamp trails often feature the thrill of spotting paw prints or a fleeting tail ring. Volunteer programs invite locals to report sightings or help restore riparian brush. Each new advocate adds weight to policies that keep rivers clean, forests intact, and rangelands open. Looking forward, bobcats embody a hopeful narrative. A medium-sized carnivore thriving despite centuries of deforestation, trapping, and urban sprawl. Unlike many predators, they adapt quickly, shifting hunting hours, rearing kittens near barns or golf greens when necessary, or reclaiming corridors once abandoned. Yet adaptability should not excuse neglect. Maintaining healthy prey bases, safeguarding large blocks of cover, and providing safe passageways remain essential. If future generations are to hear dusk calls echoing over canyon rims or glimpse silent shapes crossing a moonlit marsh, conservation must stay rooted in partnership. Biologists mapping territories, lawmakers protecting wild spaces, and orty.